From being the final season of the series to a possible 2024 release date, we're revealing everything we know about Cobra Kai Season 6. Starting with the elephant in the room, will Season 6 be the last season? If you hadn't figured it out yet, the plain and simple answer is yes. I'm sure this is sad news for some, but it's also a very expected outcome of a show that's been on the air for 5 seasons now. For several seasons, the show had multiple storylines, all interconnected, but with each one looking for a satisfying end. And while some things may still be incomplete, the majority of the conflicts and stories had come to their natural end by the end of Season 5.
Never thought I'd see the day when Silver was finally in handcuffs.
Given Raymond Porter's revised statement, Mr. Silver's facing a litany of charges. That man's lawyers are going to be pretty busy.
At least the major ones. Bitter rivals such as Daniel and Johnny, and Miguel and Robbie all became friends against one common enemy. So with all of that, it makes sense to pack things up and not squeeze the show unnecessarily. Why? Because the creative team behind the show released an official letter to the fans, explaining just that. The team didn't shy away from praising the fans, who, according to them, are the best in the world. In addition to that, it was also a sweet way of breaking the news of the 6th season being the last. However, the letter does say that the last season would be the biggest season of Cobra Kai yet. So let's see how that holds up once it drops. And speaking of being the biggest season yet, how will they manage that? More importantly, what will Season 6 be about? By now, we all know that the biggest rivalries of the show have ended. Daniel and Johnny, the kids, who were once thirsty for each other's blood, ended up being wonderful parents and made amends with each other. And their friendship became a strange sort of brotherhood that's sweet as well as funny at times. The smaller, more younger members of the dojos, who were also rivals, eventually also became friends. And if that wasn't enough, by the end of Season 5, the dojos themselves aren't even rivals anymore. This is partly due to the fact that Terry Silver was exposed, and the Cobra Kai isn't run by him anymore. John Kreese was already in prison, and Terry Silver's heading there. So it's all great, except it isn't. Because of course they did need something for the final season, right? Turns out prison wasn't John's cup of tea, and in the last moments of the season, we see him faking his death to escape. But believe me, his run's going to be short-lived, and we already know the show's not going to last more than a season. So what's the worst that could happen? He'll probably just get arrested again. But while he's at large, there's a lot that he can do. And that's what the focus is going to be heading into Season 6. Oh, but that's not all. There's another rivalry that needs to be addressed, that of Kenny and Anthony. We've already seen how the roles got completely reversed in this situation. Kenny being the nerdy kid who got bullied all the time, mostly by LaRusso and his friends, to literally becoming a bully himself and taking his revenge on the same guy. The surprising part is that even after Anthony's apology, Kenny didn't back off and kept doing what he thought he deserved, which might be because he was under Silver's mentorship. But he's now seen what his sensei was really up to, and let's hope that makes things better. Now, we know everything's fine and all, but this begs a very interesting question. Who would return for the final season's cast? I mean, sure, most characters have reached the end of their arc, like the older ones such as Johnny and Daniel, or even John Kreese for that matter. But there's a lot of potential in the younger cast to get the ball rolling for a spin-off. For now though, they too have reached a point where pushing them further would only be seen as unnecessary. Having said that, I expect the majority of the cast to return and reprise their roles. And there's a very interesting reason for that. Let's start off with why William Zabka and Ralph Macchio both are definitely coming back, and it's obvious why. The Kreese threat is once again looming in the shadows, and there's no one better equipped to deal with this situation than Johnny and Daniel.
I know exactly what Terry's planning. But if you think I'm gonna help you, then you two don't know jack.
The rest of the cast, from their on-screen wives to their kids to the kids' friends, all need to be there to support this story from afar, if not directly. But everyone's going to have a part to play in the story, and that much we all know. In addition to that, the Kenny versus Anthony rivalry also needs to have a proper conclusion. And for that, not only them, but the rest of the group of kids will have to be there. Then there's also the Samantha versus Tori story. That rhymed, huh? You may think, that ended, didn't it? And to that I'd say, yes Yes, it did, but it was all very circumstantial, wasn't it? They didn't make real amends or talk it out on a personal level, so that will probably be sorted out as well. The point is, while many characters may not have a story of their own in the series anymore, they'll still be a very important part of other characters' stories, so be ready to see all your favorite characters once again, but for the last time.
What are you doing here?
Oh my god. What happened?
Don't pretend like you care.
Of course, there's no way to confirm this. After all, the trailer doesn't give much in the way of information either. Yes, there's one for the next season, but it doesn't show anything from the upcoming season in terms of real details. In fact, all it does is give us a dose of nostalgia to prepare us for what's about to come. There's literally nothing to show for season 6, yet it does a great job of building anticipation, which I'm sure is deliberately strategic. We've all seen how trailers are these days, revealing literally all that's in the movie or show, and that's not something people are a fan of because it obviously spoils everything. So it's interesting that we still don't have anything from Cobra Kai's last season, except for a confirmation that it'll indeed happen. The trailer's entire focus is showing us how Johnny and Daniel went from being enemies in the Karate Kid movies only to become friends in the latest season. While it does show us their development, it also does a great job of explaining that even though Cobra Kai ventures into more characters and takes aim at younger audiences, the main protagonists were and always will be Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. But could it also be a hint toward what we could expect from the show going forward? Whatever it is, it'll be nice to see the focus going back on the characters who started it all, and I can't wait to watch it. Speaking of which, what about the release date? Well, that's the part that you won't like. Unlike seasons 4 and 5, which came out one after the other, season 6 is taking its sweet time. In fact, believe it or not, the shooting for it hasn't even started yet. Bummer, right? If you've been following the show, you know that the 4th and 5th seasons were filmed back to back, and that's the reason why they were released so close together. But unfortunately, we can't expect the same for season 6. According to John Hurwitz, who's one of the show's creators, nothing has been filmed yet. So those rumors about Macchio suggesting that some scenes had already been filmed are either false or something's changed behind the scenes. The point is, season 6 isn't coming anytime soon, and that's based solely on a rough estimate. Both the 4th and 5th seasons aired about 11 to 12 months after filming began. And if that pattern holds up, we can expect season 6 to come out about a year after filming starts. That could mean a 2024 release date, which is unfortunate, yes I know. But at least we know that the show's still in the works, right? So there you have it. From a possible 2024 release date to being the final season of the series. That's everything we know about Cobra Kai Season 6.